Cannabis Common Sense, the show that tells the truth about marijuana and the politics behind its prohibition.
Hello and welcome to another exciting edition of Cannabis Common Sense. We have standing by in the wings, Mr. John Cornett. How are you tonight, John?
Very good, Paul. Thank you.
Good. Sitting next to me is that wild and crazy guy, Mr. Casper Leach. And I'll be back in just a moment with some hemp news. We got some video clips and lots of fun stuff. And we'll be taking your phone calls. If you have a question about ending adult marijuana prohibition, restoring industrial hemp, or helping medical marijuana patients, you can call us tonight at 503-288-4442. But we're not going to get to your call for about 15 minutes, so stand by. Anyway, we're going to bring on our infamous dancing Cannabis Leaves.
I feel the force.
Nation's capital, the Washington, D.C. Board of Elections on Wednesday ruled that Initiative 71, a measure reforming D.C.'s marijuana laws, has enough valid signatures in order to qualify for the November ballot. 1 month ago, the D.C. Cannabis Campaign submitted 57,000 signatures, more than twice the number needed to qualify for the ballot. According to an American Civil Liberties Union report released last year, Washington, D.C. has the highest arrest rate for marijuana possession in the country, with blacks more likely than whites by a factor of 8 times more likely to be arrested for marijuana, despite similar rates of use. Dr. Malik Burnett, the D.C. policy manager for the Drug Policy Alliance, said, quote, "It's clear from the number of signatures the campaign was able to submit that citizens want a major change in D.C.'s marijuana laws. The policies of prohibition in the district have been borne on the backs of people of color for decades. District residents can put an end to this discrimination," end quote. Of course, we urge you to vote yes on Washington, D.C.'s Initiative 71. And if you are right here in Oregon, we urge you to vote yes on Oregon's Measure 91 to end marijuana prohibition this November 4th, Tuesday, November 4th. And make sure you're registered and ready to vote. In Colorado, the rates of current and lifetime marijuana use among Colorado students has dropped since the state's voters made marijuana legal in 2012, according to a Thursday release from the Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment. They said, according to their news release, quote, 30-day marijuana use fell from 22% in 2011 to 20% in 2013, and lifetime use declined from 39% to 37% during the same 2 years. It's dropped nearly 5 points since 2009, when hundreds of medical marijuana stores began opening throughout Colorado. The state of Colorado began regulating medical marijuana in 2010. The CDPHE release says the drop from 2011 to 2013 is not statistically significant, but it appears the drop from 2009 to 2013 could be. In either case, it's clear that use among high school students in the state of Colorado has not increased with the advent of increased availability for medical patients and now adults in the state of Colorado. In another development about the change in regulations in Washington, Colorado, the stone driving laws accompanying recreational marijuana legalization in Colorado and Washington were sold to us as being necessary for public safety. The specter of stone drivers was presented as something dangerous and perhaps deadly. Many weed-hating cops were quite happy to find there's still legal reason to arrest potheads. Reality, meanwhile, is telling another story, as highway fatalities in Colorado are near record lows since cannabis was legalized. Marijuana opponents have darkly warned of the scourge of high drivers, but the fact is we can only test for the presence of marijuana metabolites. not for being actually high on cannabis, according to a report in the Washington Post. Because everyone metabolizes marijuana and other substances differently, all a positive test tells us for sure is the driver has smoked cannabis at some point in the past. So the big news here is that the rates of death are at a record low in Colorado and Washington, so the laws obviously haven't hurt that. Down under in Australia, a Tasmanian company has been given the go-ahead to grow, import, and export medical marijuana on Norfolk Island, an external territory of which Australia is not part of Australia's taxation or welfare system. The island's government has given permission to the Tasman Health Cannabinoids, or THC, to grow medical cannabis with a view to it becoming a multi-billion-dollar exporting industry, according to the Australian Broadcasting Corporation. While Norfolk Island has historically struggled financially, and like Tasmania has been dependent upon assistance from Australia, the island's health minister, Robin Adams, explained that they are ready to turn that around. He said, quote, "We're open for investment, we're open for business on Norfolk Island. We see this as a great opportunity both for the economy of Norfolk Island whilst providing a much needed medical product for export." The health minister of Norfolk Island, Robin Adams, has now given us a production license to go ahead and progress to grow on Norfolk medical cannabinoids, according to THC's chairman, Dr. Mal Washer. Heavily dependent on tourism to boost its economy, Norfolk Island was hit hard by the global financial crisis. Visitors on the island dropped from 40,000 a year to 20,000 a year, so they're very hopeful that this is going to help their economy. In Europe, in Spain, the Public Health Agency of Catalonia, a region of Spain, is drafting rules to regulate the Cannabis Sales Association, which has become popular in the region around Barcelona. Cannabis clubs in Catalonia already have more than 165,000 members and take in about 5 million euros per month, according to published reports. The ambitious proposal aims to regulate the entire process surrounding the cultivation and transportation of marijuana by Spain's cannabis clubs and the access requirements for members. One of the main rules is that cannabis clubs can only be for residents to end the cannabis tourism that's increasingly popular in cities like Barcelona. Cannabis club members will be required to be at least 21 years old to regulate cultivation. The rules specify that cannabis production has to be provided upon request of the partners, and only marijuana which has previously been charged to a specific member may be planted. Cultivation records will be required, and once a year crops will be appraised by a professional association. In no event can these Catalonian Spanish cannabis clubs acquire marijuana on the black market. That way the government has records of all the legal cannabis production in the market, which is now impossible. Mark Emery, the self-styled Prince of Pot, who got a 5-year federal prison sentence in the United States for selling seeds, will now get to return home to Canada this Tuesday. Emery is scheduled to be flown from a Louisiana jail to Detroit, Michigan on Tuesday, then escorted in shackles by U.S. Marshals under the Detroit River and turned over to Canadian officials, according to his wife, Jody Emery. He'd been sentenced after pleading guilty to selling cannabis seeds through the mail to U.S. customers through his Vancouver, British Columbia-based company. Jody Emery said their lives will pick up where they left off when Mark went to Seattle to plead guilty before serving his 5 years in U.S. federal prison. She said, quote, "Our activism is our life. We'll be getting right back into it. Our first priority is to jump into the federal election campaign, even though it seems way off," according to Jody Emery. The election's coming up in 2015. Speaking to the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation radio from a private deportation facility in Louisiana, Mark Emery said, quote, "My own government betrayed me, and I'm going to wreak an appropriate amount of political revenge when I get home and campaign against the conservative government," end quote. Ironically, marijuana is now legally sold in Seattle, where Emery was sentenced, and throughout the state of Washington, along with Colorado. Voters in both states in 2012, of course, approved measures which legalized in a limited way the possession and consumption of cannabis by adults 21 and older. Since Emery was imprisoned in Canada back in May 2010, Canadian Prime Minister Stephen Harper and his ruling Conservative Party in Canada have increased penalties for marijuana busts and made medical cannabis laws much more restrictive. Meanwhile, the Liberal Party became the first mainstream political party in Canada to come out in support of full marijuana legalization. According to Jody Emery, she and her husband Mark plan a cross-country tour in support of the Liberal Party. You know, we broadcast our show through the Emery's Pot TV, which is part of their Cannabis Culture magazine. And back in 1998, or actually 97, we went back and interviewed Mark Emery in Vancouver, BC. So we'll have some clips from those 15-year-old videos here a little bit later in the show. But for now, we're going to jump over to Mr. John Cornett. Welcome back, John.
Thank you. Welcome back, Paul. You know, there's nothing that'll make a person active more than the most severe oppression. My best friend hung himself in a Texas jail in 1972 over half of a marijuana cigarette. He was told that his life was over. He might as well be dead. So he hung himself. And because of that, I'm an activist today.
All right. That was lovely, John. Thank you. Welcome, viewers. Welcome, Casper. How are you?
Fine. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday to you. We are taking your calls tonight, and I understand there's several callers standing by. If you have a question for us about ending adult marijuana prohibition, restoring industrial hemp, or helping medical marijuana patients, you can call us at that number there at the bottom of your screen. It's 503-288-4442. And we'll go ahead and take our first caller. Welcome to the show, caller.
Hi, is this Paul?
Hello, caller.
Hello, Paul.
No?
Hello?
Well, I have a question.
Hold it.
What are we going to be doing next week and this time?
Hold. Was there a caller?
Yes. Hello?
Oh. Hey, we can hear you now.
Oh, okay, cool. Hey, I have a problem maybe. My neighbor says the smell of my outdoor grow, and supposedly it gets to her, and she says it's kind of against the law or the rules having the smell go somewhere. Is there any way we can mask the smell?
Outdoors, it's very, very difficult. You can get great big fans and blow the air the other way, but typically good cannabis is going to smell from a distance away. So it's just like lilacs or roses or you know, other fragrant plants. I saw a field of clover grass that I could smell from about a half a mile away. It smelled wonderful. But some people don't appreciate those natural smells, and so especially if they have some inner fear or anxiety. So it's very difficult.
Is it against the law? Or
No, that is not against the law. It's not your fault that the wind blows over in her direction. That's it's not included in the law. Now your plants cannot be visible. They're not supposed to be publicly displayed, but you can't do anything about the smell, and that's not talked about in the law.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
All right, have a good one.
You too. Yeah, I know at our outdoor garden, you can smell the plants from a block or 2 blocks away, and if the wind's right, maybe even farther. But this is going to be our 9th year growing outdoors at this location, so our neighbors are pretty much used to it. They're all a little bit afraid of thieves, as are we. You know, none of us like to have thieves trolling around, but you know, we do our best to minimize that. And of course, our main thing is if someone tries to rob us, we will have you arrested. In fact, at least 2 people exactly, were sentenced to 18 months in prison for robbing one of our gardens. So, but you asked me,
What are we going to be doing this time next week?
why don't you go ahead and answer that question?
Are we going to be in Seattle having fun with all of our friends?
Well, maybe not all of them, but definitely more than 100,000 of our fellow cannabis over the period of the weekend, over the 3 days that it happens from Friday, August 15th, Saturday the 16th, and Sunday the 17th next week. There will be over 250,000 people coming through the Seattle Hemp Fest. You can find out more about that by going to hempfest.org. That's hempfest.org.
And probably about 250,000 ounces, too.
I don't know. You know, this year is the first year they're going to have designated smoking areas.
Nice.
So you will have to smoke within these special enclosures.
Nice.
And but they said that doesn't. It's not limited to edibles or vaporizers. You only have to smoke in these areas. So if you're vaporizing, you're eating edibles, you're not required to go to those areas.
And then a month and a week later, we do it all again, don't we, here?
We have a lot of things, but obviously we also have the Portland Hemp Stock Festival, which is coming up at Tom McCall Waterfront Park on Saturday, September 27th, and Sunday, September 28th. We're happy to announce that we have Lucas Nelson and the Promise of the Real, an incredible band, fellow who I've known a number of years, the son of Willie Nelson, and an incredible guitarist. He's kind of a cross between Jimi Hendrix and Jim Morrison. He plays his guitar behind his head with his teeth. He learned from his dad, from Neil Young, and a lot of the masters. We also have John Trudell and Bad Dog, one of our regular appearers. We also are happy to announce the incredible Seattle reggae band, the Herbivores, will be at Portland Hemp Stock Festival. And more, you can find out more about that at Hempstock, that's Hempstalk, that's hemp, S-T-A-L-K, Hempstock, like a big marijuana stem, .org, hempstock.org. Okay,
cool.
You got a chance to put in a shameless plug for that. I think we have a fellow here standing by to ask a question in the studio. Go right ahead, sir.
Pork Chop, and we're going to start the Pork Chop project Tuesday. Here we're going to be going out and taking care of our family in Iowa. We'll be leaving for
So you mean your family in Iowa, the Bentons,
Yeah,
Benton
the Benton
McKenzie
family.
and Loretta McKenzie, who were guests on our show
Yes.
a couple of weeks ago. So you're going to go to Iowa, or they're going to come here?
We're going to Iowa with their bus that I gave them from Oregon.
All right.
And we got 7 lawyers on board in 7 different medical marijuana states. We got a $200,000 price to try to raise money for this family to come back. There's been a house involved, a real house involved for them up here.
Well, you know, we appreciate you helping, and that's great. Thank you.
See you at Hempfest.
Yeah, we will next week. It'll be great. So again, if you have a question or comment for us tonight, just go ahead and give us a call at 503-288-4442. That's 503-288-4442. If you want to get involved in the movement to end adult marijuana prohibition and restore industrial hemp, you can call us at this other number, 503-235-4606. That's 503-235-4606. So yeah, the Seattle Hemp Fest is coming up. They have a lot of great performers up there, a lot of great speakers. I know Jody Emery will be up there. That was Mark Emery's wife.
Is she going to be there this year?
I think she's scheduled to be. I know she's got to go meet with Mark on Tuesday, and then they have an event on Wednesday in Toronto. But I'm not. She's scheduled to speak. I suppose she's coming, but given her husband just got out, he will not be coming back into the United States, and who can blame him for that?
Well, I asked because Jody I asked her once Mark got out, would she be coming to this Hemp Fest? And she said, when Mark got out, she would never come back to America.
Well, maybe she won't. Maybe I'm wrong. You know, we have a couple videos here, and we're going to try to get them to run. We've got some excerpts from the Seattle Hemp Fest that will be up and running here soon. And I guess we weren't able to get the video with Mark Emery. There was some problem with that tonight. But I know they are working on some other videos from the Seattle Hemp Fest.
Cool.
Yep, yep. We have a large assortment of cannabis items here tonight. Maybe we'll just go through our
show and tell
a little early. We'll wait and get Cowboy on camera too to close in. This is a rather interesting product. It is a sedative. It says it has extract of cannabis, arsenic acid, valerian, strychnine, and cannabis, all in that.
Arsenic and strychnine. I think it does more than put you to sleep.
You'll notice this is from Park Davis.
Good Lord.
This company is still around today, Park Davis. And this is actually a full bottle of pills. Now, I have not even attempted to open this. This is an antique, but it's very... Now, here's something else, another little combination drug. It's Kill-A-Cough. Kill-A-Cough. And it will definitely kill your cough. It says it's guaranteed to end coughs due to cold, bronchitis, consumption, pneumonia, and asthma. It's got chloroform, cannabis, ammonia chloride, honey, sugar, and other nifty things. In this little Hopkins Company pack, you would get an ounce of marijuana on the top of it.
Nice
it says that this is a narcotic, nervine, sedative, antispasmodic, anodyne, and you use an infusion of 1 pint of water to this box, and your dose is to take 1 dessert teaspoonful.
1 dessert teaspoon.
Yeah, here's something else from the John Wyeth Company of Philadelphia, and is a fluid extract of cannabis bottle. Fluid extract of cannabis bottle. Next door, now this is particularly interesting because it says it's from the Chapman Pharmacy of Roseburg, Oregon, circa 1895. And it's a Fraser Medical Company. It's got Fraser embossed on the bottom, on the side. And it's an extract of cannabis. Still got a number of the pills in there. I guess initially there were more than 100. There's still a few cannabis pills. Of course, we aren't going to try those. Pretty old. We got the good stuff anyway. So this is a fluid extract of cannabis from the American Druggist Specialist Laboratory. And you can see this one's still full. And this is from 1920 medicine. Right next door to it, from 1915, is we have our first Eli Lilly. This is powdered extract of cannabis. This was powdered hashish or keef. So they were using the good stuff back then too. It says here it's for all kinds of different things. It's American Indian hemp, hashish, bhang, ganja, and it has a whole list of things here on the back. It says that it's used for. So that is from Eli. Then right next to it is another Eli Lilly product. This is another extract of cannabis indica. Can you close it any tighter on that one? This was basically a kind of like a wax back then. It was a very strong extract of cannabis that Eli Lilly sold. So these are two Eli Lilly products, and next door we have another one. Eli Lilly had about 15 different cannabis products. About half of those were just cannabis, like this fluid extract of cannabis. You see, they say it's number 96, right? Number 96. They also had number 48. They had other combination ones like this Park Davis one we were showing earlier with chloroform and lots of other things. So, but that is the end of our hemp show and tell for tonight. So I picked up all these things on eBay. You can see a few of these items in our THCF Medical Clinic office. We have a little window with some of these items you can see in person, or you can come down here and see us in person. We have a studio audience most every Friday night at 2712 Northeast Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. But we're not going to be here next week. Next week we're going to be in Seattle, as Casper aptly noted. So we're going to be up there. We will have a pre-recorded show running next week. Then we'll be doing 2 more shows in the month of August, and then we will be doing 3 tape shows in the month of September, the first 3 weekends, first 3 Fridays in September. I've been invited to go speak at this thing expogrow.net in Spain, and so they flew my wife and I there last year, and we're happy that they're flying us back this year. So we'll be there with Mark and Jody Emery. In fact, we'll be at that event. So we have a little video now of Jody Emery at HempFest. So stay tuned. I think it's coming.
HempFest is the best. HempFest is the best. Hi everybody, my name is Jody Emery, and my husband is the Prince of Pot, Mark Emery. Mark Emery sold marijuana seeds to anyone, anywhere in the world from 1994 onward, especially the American people. He said, plant the seeds of freedom to overthrow the government. He said he would take the money that people sent him for seeds and use it to finance legalization reform, and he did. Millions of dollars, millions of seeds given to the American people and people worldwide, in Canada, in my home, in Mark's home, in Canada. Mark was stolen from his home in 2005, arrested on Canadian soil by the DEA of America, and facing life in U.S. prison. He took a 5-year plea deal, sentenced here in this city, extradited here to the state, and now in Mississippi. But Washington is legal. Washington State is legal, and you guys have no idea how many millions of people wish they were in your shoes right now. Oh my God, the pot prisoners who are in prison right now for cannabis wish they were in your place right now. So you owe it to every pot prisoner and everyone going to jail today and everyone going to jail tomorrow. As this drug war continues, there's a lot of suffering that will go on. But you are free, and you have the power, and you use that power here. You made it legal in Washington State and Colorado, and it will spread. It'll spread to Oregon and Alaska, California. The United States is fighting for freedom, and you're winning, and you're inspiring the world. My husband comes home next year from U.S. prison. He finally comes home to me. This is my 5th year, perhaps my final year being here. But you guys have so much to be thankful for. These volunteers putting on HempFest have made something so powerful and so beautiful. You have to be so grateful to be here. Please take out $1. $1. That's like a bong hit. Please take out $1. Put it into the jug here. When we pass around asking for money for HempFest, please give, because without your money, there is no movement. And the DEA admitted they went after Mark Emery, my husband, because of the money. Money is power, and your government takes your tax dollars and uses it against you. So you have to fight back peacefully and honestly. Vote, join a political party, join NORML, join any organization, make a difference, make your voice heard, hold up a sign, write a letter, talk to your parents. Do something while you're free to do it. That's your responsibility. That's your responsibility. You're free to fight for freedom. And when you're not free, you cannot fight. So do it for yourselves. Do it for your brothers and sisters. Do it for my husband and all the kids and all the wives and everybody who misses their loved ones. And we're going to celebrate. We're going to celebrate and send that smoke signal around the world like the message of legalization has gone around the world. Washington is legal, and soon so many more places will be legal too. Keep spreading the love and the hope and the message, and celebrate for this day, because you're free. You're free.
All right, that was Jody Emery. So I know she's scheduled to speak this year, but you don't think she said once her husband was free to you, she won't come back to the United States.
Yes, I asked her at the first of the year if I'd be seeing her at Seattle Hemp Fest or at the Portland Hemp Stock, and she said, well, once Mark gets out, she's never going to leave Mark's side.
Yeah, Mark's not going to be able to
Mark
come
can't
back.
come back to America.
So I bet she won't be there. But I know that Mark and Jody are going to this event in San Sebastian, Spain, because we're both on the panels to speak there. That's September 12th and 13th in San Sebastian, which is in the Basque Country. Very interesting place. Beautiful country. The city of San Sebastian is one of the most beautiful in the world. But if you can make it to San Sebastian, I'd be happy to see you there September 12th and 13th.
Well, you know,
but if not, we'll be in Seattle next weekend.
I've never been to Spain, but I kind of like the Beatles.
Yeah. That was Three Dog Night. Never been to Spain, but I've been to Oklahoma.
Yeah, I've been to Oklahoma.
Me
and
too.
Arizona.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you have a comment or question for us tonight, you can call us at 503-288-4442. We have another video, this time with someone who is even more famous than Jody Emery, believe it or not. And so are we ready to run that? Let's go ahead and roll this next Seattle Hemp Fest video.
You know, being Seattle Hemp Fest and being the largest, most sophisticated cannabis policy reform event in the world, we try to make things up to you. You know, we're going to do a countdown for the 420 here and all that stuff, but you know, I'll tell you, we felt so bad about the fact that Tommy couldn't be here that we decided to do something about it.
You know, there's been this rumor floating around, and I'm going to address it right now. I got to tell you people that I decided to quit smoking. And then I realized, hey, I'm not a quitter. Some people. First of all, I want to thank all the vendors. I want to thank the Seattle Hemp Fest for having me out here. I want to thank all these volunteers who work so hard for no money. A lot of volunteers around here. I want to thank the police for keeping the peace. I want to thank some people who don't get a lot of credit and really deserve it. I want to thank those people walking around here selling magic cookies, brownies. They don't get the credit they deserve. You guys are definitely the most energized pot smokers I've ever run across. I think it was appropriate to start here in Seattle because it's the home of the place where the young and the young of heart took to the streets and flashed a giant neon sign saying, "We're not putting up with this shit anymore. WTO, go home. Find an island." It's because there's an amazing propaganda machine in this country. Don't you think? I mean, it's a propaganda machine that makes us actually believe that we live in a democracy when we know we don't live in a democracy. I mean, it's a propaganda machine that talks about us living in a free country when we know we're not living in a free country. You're free to do whatever you want to do as long as it doesn't go against what the government wants you to do. So how are we going to turn that around? I say things like this: the Seattle Hemp Fest are the way to turn this thing around. Every one of you people who showed up here today, you're making a statement, and I'm damn proud of you. And you know what I have to say? Keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing. And I think it will change. I think it'll change. Thank you all for coming out here today. It really warms my heart.
No, you never seen it.
Give me an H. Give me an E. Give me an M. Give me a P. Your turn. Outdo him. Give me an A. Give me an E. Give me an M. Give me a P. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the house band of Seattle Hemp Fest, the incredible Herbivores.
Ignorance still runs deep. struggle for freedom, they'll put us to the test. So it's time to exercise our rights and put on a hemp fest. And we'll educate the youth who soon will rule the land. 'Cause it's just a matter of time, and it's time to take a stand. 'Cause it's a losing battle, one that money can't win. Been going on for years, just keeps right on going. Like a Cold War with the commies, prohibition and the like. You can throw us all in prison, but you cannot win the fight. 'Cause it's a losing battle.
Because we're only talking about good things for good people. This man Jim knows. Take a good look at him. He's been through it.
This is Vivian McPeak at Seattle Hemp Fest here at Myrtle Edwards Park. I'm with THC TV and Seattle Hemp Fest, and we just had Woody Harrelson speak, enjoying some munchies now and some refreshments. We've got the herbivores, our house band playing. We've got so many people out there, I don't know how to count them.
Hey, Mr. Politician, time to wake up.
All right, so that's what the Seattle Hemp Fest is like. You should go. It's a free event. You just have to get down to Seattle's Myrtle Edwards Park, right at the end of Pier 77, I think it is. And it stretches for 1.5 miles. There are 5 stages and a Hemposium tent. And I am proud to say that our organization, THCF, has been the sole presenting sponsor in the history of them allowing presenting sponsors. So we're happy to support the Seattle Hemp Fest. So the herbivores will definitely be there again. There'll be some more surprise guests there next weekend, so you want to be there if you can. The herbivores will be closing the festivities at the Seattle Hemp Fest on the night of the 17th, Sunday the 17th. And we also have them playing Saturday, September 27th, here in Portland at Tom McCall Waterfront Park, along with Lucas Nelson and John Trudell and many others.
Well,
Los Marijuanos.
And you and I are both guest speakers at both those events.
There you have it, and there's dozens more. So if you can't make it to the Seattle Hemp Fest, hopefully you'll make it to the Portland Hemp Stock Festival. If you're watching us from Europe, we hope to see you in San Sebastian at the expogrow.net. That's expogrow.net. So there are a lot of events happening through the summer.
And if you're watching from Spain, I'm an expert on smoking pot. If you want to fly me over to talk about that, I can do that.
Yeah, I asked them, you know, what was it that had, they said it was our political work on our initiatives in Oregon and our popularity on the internet and on Facebook. You know, our Facebook page now has about 530,000 followers just on one of our Facebook pages at facebook.com.
There's that many marijuana smokers in the world?
It's facebook.com/restorehemp, of course. facebook.com/restorehemp.
I bet you a couple of those members are DEA agents just checking you out.
I try not to think about that.
Oh, well.
You know, I know that at least one DEA agent's now working for a legal marijuana business up in Seattle, and we hope to employ all of you away from your evil enforcement to helping us grow and sell marijuana.
And we do encourage you to adopt the DEA agent, send them a letter a couple of times a month, Christmas cards, and invite them home for lunch a couple of times.
Maybe we don't. Maybe he does. I'm going to distance myself from that. But anyway, if you are a loved one or anywhere in the United States, from Maine to Hawaii, from Florida to Washington State, we have doctors who can help you get a permit for medical marijuana as long as you have one of the qualifying conditions. If you have one of those conditions that's there on your screen, chronic pain, nausea, seizure disorders, Crohn's disease, IBS, AIDS, cancer, any of those, then we can help you get a medical marijuana permit all over the country. Just call us at 1-800-723-0188. That's 1-800-723-0188. If you're here in the Portland area, you can call us locally at 503-281-5100. That's 503-281-5100.
Do you qualify if you have congressional nausea?
What kind of nausea?
Congressional nausea. Every time I listen to Congress.
About the Congress?
Yeah, I get nauseous. And
if you have a documentation of chronic nausea, I don't know about congressional
okay.
nausea, but we do have a phone caller standing by, so let's see what they've got to say. Welcome to the show, caller.
Greetings, everyone, and thank you for taking my call.
You're very welcome.
Paul, this is I need your political opinion about this.
Okay, I'll try.
Okay. The upcoming ballot measure about legalization of marijuana, what I'm afraid of is what the Attorney General might do. The Attorney General, when we elected her, said she will protect the Constitution. This spring, when the Constitution was challenged, a ballot measure was challenged, she refused to go to federal court and protect the Oregon Constitution. The ballot measure, of course, was marriage between a man and a woman. And both the governor and the attorney general said, we're not going to support that, and didn't send any representatives, so they won by default. Is a possibility that could happen again?
You know, I know Ellen Rosenblum, the Oregon Attorney General, has said explicitly that she supports medical marijuana, and she supports the change in marijuana's law status. She, in fact, received significant funding in her campaign for Attorney General from the Drug Policy Alliance, and they are one of the primary funders of Oregon's Measure 91. And so I think that she will back Measure 91 and defend it in court. However, the federal government has not been sued in Washington or in Colorado, and the states of Washington and Colorado have not been sued by the federal government, so they haven't been called on to enforce federal law. But you know, when you look at federal law, at the Controlled Substances Act, it says explicitly in the Controlled Substances Act that state law takes precedence. So it's the Controlled Substances Act is Title 21 of the United States Code, or 21 U.S.C. At Section 903, it says that state law takes precedence to federal law when it comes to drug regulation. It's one of the reasons that Oregon scheduled cannabis from a Schedule 1 to a Schedule 2 as well, because states have that power and have traditionally held that power. So I think in this case that you know, we've got to pass this and urge all of our political representatives, from the governor and the attorney general to our state reps and our federal elected reps, to support this. And in fact, we have the best congressman on marijuana law reform in the country. Earl Blumenauer has taken the lead. He spoke at our Global Marijuana March. I know he's done many other things. He endorsed Measure 80 a couple years ago. I'm sure he's going to endorse Measure 91. And so he has taken the lead in terms of representing us. Of course, we got over 61% of the vote here in Multnomah County. So he knows, you know, that his constituents support this. So we just have to demonstrate that political support, and we will carry the day.
Oh, I hope so. Well, also the other side of the coin is of course, Kitzhoffer, his feelings about marijuana.
Yeah, he is traditionally against marijuana law reform and has fought it. He signed a bill to recriminalize marijuana, and we had to get about 90,000 signatures to stop that from going into effect back in 1997. We got the signatures. It was voted on in 98, and we won every single county of the state with 67% of the vote opposing recriminalizing simple possession of marijuana back in that November 1998 vote. But Kitzhoffer signed that measure into law, and he's opposed medical marijuana, appointed members to the Oregon Medical Board that have sanctioned doctors solely for medical marijuana. He has been no friend for medical marijuana. And you know, I've said that on this TV show a number of times, and I have suffered because of that. Kitzhaber is a very vindictive man, and he has punished me for doing that. Sans the state tax case that I had. And I was told that that was because the new administration, when Governor Kitzhaber came back in, wanted it to be done, because I had supported Bill Bradbury, his opponent in the Democratic gubernatorial election. So he knows what we're doing, and hopefully he sees that the tide of history is on our side, and we won't be able to criticize him for this anymore.
Thank you for taking my question.
Thank you. Thanks for calling. We are just about out of time.
I know. It's gone so quick.
And I was a little bit late. Of course, I'm often that way. But anyway, you have a radio network, Casper.
I do, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, ongoing, demanding that we end prohibition and these horrible laws that we are facing all around the world. You can go to timeforhemp.com, check it out, Tumblr, SoundCloud, iTunes, and of course, timeforhemp.com is a growing group of people. Right now we got about, I think, 40 hosts that are putting out about 60 hours a week of original content about the need to end prohibition. Please share us with your friends. That's how you pass around the truth and a good joint. Thank you very much, Paul, for the shameless plug.
Certainly. We have one other thing I want to point out here, our Cannabis Flame of Freedom. Here is hemp seed oil. It's burning a hemp wick from this roll of hemp twine. And look at camera 2, there it is. The hemp flame of freedom burns. Marijuana prohibition was never about drugs, folks. Marijuana prohibition was always about fuel and fiber and money and power and the continued centralization of economic and political control.
You mean it was just a bunch of greedy people who
they
robbed our
sold us
future?
Marijuana prohibition based on misinformation, and it was actually racist lies. In fact, the very name marijuana shows the anti-Hispanic bias. If they had called it hemp, if they had called it cannabis, they never could have prohibited it. They had to rename it something, and given the prevalency of racism at the time, they chose this term marijuana from a Pancho Villa Revolutionary War song, Mexican Revolution. It was called La Cucaracha. And so they took this term marijuana and used it to criminalize the oldest crop by claiming it was a deadly new drug. It was the petrochemical, pharmaceutical, military, industrial, transnational, corporate, elite, crony, capitalist, ruling class that brought us marijuana prohibition. And it's going to be you and me telling our family, friends, and neighbors that we have to end this thing that's going to bring it to an end. And we can turn our whole economic system upside down when we restore hemp for fuel, fiber, and food. So I want to thank you folks for watching. We're going to go out on another great song by Mr. John Cornette. And tune in next week. We'll have a tape show, and we'll be back live the following week. And help us restore hemp. Good night.
Another chapter as we turn the page. Can we exist within a nuclear age? I know that freedom's heard around the globe. Just where our future lies, nobody knows. Whoa, let's make the best of it now. 'Cause you never know when the sky will fall. Maybe the moon will reach the earth one day. We're not the same race that we used to be. Can't you see? Now the next time that you fall in love, just appreciate the sun above. 'Cause the sun is shining on and on. So open up your eyes before it's gone. Oh, let's make the best of it now. the best of it now.